there becomes a point past the intermediate stage where learning and improving on the instrument is no longer confusing. Today, I'm going to show you 4 concepts that have unlocked the fretboard and made the guitar easy to understand and visualize for me. If you don't know who I am, I help intermediates become advanced players. This was me here as an intermediate player. I was unaware of the concepts that I'm going to show you today that help you advance your playing and eventually teach yourself and hopefully other people as well. Again, I managed to progress my playing with enough time and dedication to a point where I was actually quite proud. Today's video is sponsored by my guitar lessons. You can check out, there is a link in the description if you are interested in signing up. Also, we have a Discord community, check that out as well. Free link right in the description. It turns out you don't actually need a lot of scales in order to advance and sound professional on the instrument. So, you can take one scale shape to create many different sounds. For example, the pentatonic scale, it can give you either a major or minor sound with just one shape. It just depends on where you use it. So if I take the G minor pentatonic, it's the same shape I'm going to play here. It gives us a minor sound. However, with the same shape, I can play a major sound. It's all about taking the same shape and applying it in different places to get different sounds. So we need to optimize the scale shapes that we learn to learn scale shapes that offer us multiple different tonalities with just one shape, right? We need to learn one shape and get as much as musical juice as we can possibly squeeze out of it, right? We need to look for high return on investment scales, right? So the scales that are most important in order to develop your playing and get to a point where the guitar is no longer confusing and you can kind of hear it in all of music and understand music more easily, the scales you're going to need to learn are the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale. Again, most of us are already quite familiar with this, the idea that we need to be learning our pentatonics. Guitarists, we love the pentatonics, but also one that we kind of don't hear talked about a lot is learning the major scale. Learning the 7 positions of the major scale using the 3-note per string system is a concept that's going to completely transform your playing once you understand how to apply it to the instrument and how to relate it to music, right? And 99% of all music is made with the major scale and the pentatonic scale. If you get these 2 concepts covered, you're going to be able to cover so much music that's already been made, right? It's going to really advance your playing once you understand and get a good grasp of these 2 scales. So there's 2 concepts there, right? It's the pentatonic scale and the major scale. If you don't know what you should be working on at the moment, make sure you learn the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale and the 7 positions of the 3-note per string major scale. There are countless videos on YouTube for this at the moment. Just go on YouTube, type in 5 positions pentatonic scale, how to play 3-note per string major scale. You'll find countless great resources in order to learn from. So the scales are going to help you a lot with your lead playing. However, what can we do to enhance our rhythm skills? Well, the best thing we can do to enhance our rhythm is to learn how to play triads. This is going to allow us to play chords all over the neck rather than just playing them in open positions or just playing like bar chords. Right, there's going to be multiple ways that we can play a chord. So we could play G major like this, we could play G major like this, we could play G major like this, we could play it like this, and again we can advance it a bit more where we can kind of figure out ways to add notes and extend those chords and change the tonality of them once we learn the basic triads. So again, we want to be learning how to play triads. And there are 2 ways that we can learn how to play the triads, right? You can learn the cage system, which I hear a lot of people have a lot of success with. I'd encourage you to learn the cage system if it sounds interesting to you. But personally, I'm not a big fan of the cage system. I don't recommend it because the way the shapes are named are fairly confusing. For example, you might be told to play an E shape, however you're not playing an E chord. It's poorly set up in that the name of the shape does not correspond with the name of the note of the chord that you're playing over. So that's why I think the cage system is a bit confusing. What I recommend learning is your triads and inversions on each string set. So learning how to play these 3-note chords where you go being able to play a triad and inverting them. Again, you can do this on multiple different string sets. So I did that on the E, A, and D string. Let's say I wanted to do that on the D, G, and B string. I can play them that way as well, right? Or I could go like, what are my ones for this one here? I recommend learning that rather than the cage shape because it kind of breaks things down into smaller parts and chunks. I think it's easier to learn it that way, and further on down the line, it's easier to understand it, how it applies to music theory. So I would encourage you to just learn your triads and inversions rather than trying to learn your cage shapes. I think this is a lot simpler, a lot less confusing, because you don't have to rely on the names of like, oh, the A cage shaped, while you might be playing like a D flat chord. Like, it doesn't really make much sense, right? So it doesn't matter how you learn them. Again, at the end of the day, you can do the method that I suggested, or you can learn the cage shape. The end result is knowing how to play triads. It's still the same. If you know how to play triads, it doesn't matter how you got there. You just know how to play them, right? So far we've covered 3 really important concepts. If you don't know what you should be learning on the guitar right now, make sure you're comfortable with the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale, 3-note per string major scale, there's 7 positions of that, and learning your triads. These are 3 things that you should be learning and making sure that you have a good understanding of, regardless of what genre you're playing. So yeah, pentatonic scale, major scale, triads. The final concept I'm going to show you is what connects all of these ideas together, and it allows you to explore the fretboard with total freedom. So these aren't going to be, once we learn how these ideas, the scales and the triads, they're not going to be separate things. They're going to be a way that we can combine it all together and use everything together to explore the fretboard. What we need to do is we need a basic understanding of music theory. And the basic stuff is just stuff like this. Learning how a scale is constructed. For example, the major scale. So it'd be like tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, right? If you don't know that stuff, again, do some research on it. Make sure you have the fundamentals of music theory covered, right? Learn what an interval is. If you're playing an instrument, you should know what an interval is. You probably already know how to play it, you just don't understand it yet, which is kind of a problem if you want to advance on the guitar. If you're doing all these basic level things and you don't know how to explain them, you have a gap in your knowledge and you can only get so far. Again, you want to be able to understand what diatonic harmony is. That means playing inside of a key and how to take advantage of that and make sure that you are always playing notes that sound good together, right? And when you combine all of those simple ideas I've just told you together, and you learn how to use, learn how a scale is harmonized and how to play inside of a key, you're going to unlock so many other areas beyond that on the guitar, and it's actually very easy. It's not very difficult to understand this. It takes a bit of effort, but it's achievable for any guitarist if they really want it, right? So yeah, those are the absolute basics of music theory. Again, just understanding what a scale is, understanding what an interval is, and understanding what diatonic harmony is and how to play it inside of a key. Once you understand the basic concepts like that, ideas like modal harmony are going to become so much easier to understand, and the level of music that you're going to be able to create from once you understand these ideas is just going to exponentially improve, and you're going to advance so much more on your instrument. So to recap, you need a good understanding of these 4 things to make the guitar an easy instrument to understand. If you want to get to a point on the instrument where learning something isn't confusing anymore, you no longer have to look at a YouTube tutorial to learn something. You can just use your ear to figure it out. You're gonna want to make sure that you have an understanding of these 4 ideas. So number 1, this is probably the most basic one, the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale. Most likely you've already got this covered, which is good, but just make sure you know what they are and how to play through all of them. Number 2, the 7 positions of the 3-note per string major scale. Number 3, how to play major and minor triads across the neck. And 4, the basic music theory that allows you to connect all of these previous ideas together to unlock that freedom to do whatever you want, listen to whatever you want, and be able to figure it out with ease. Once you're comfortable with these 4 concepts, you'll be able to teach yourself the instrument and even potentially teach others, right? This has been how I got good at guitar. This lesson has also been sponsored by my private guitar lessons. So if you still suck after watching this video, don't struggle alone. You can book a call with me. There's a link in the description. Again, if you want to advance your playing, link below. Also, check out the Discord. Thank you very much for watching. Respect for making it towards the end, and subscribe for more.